Should Congress vote to remove the filibuster? It's a way to prevent or delay the Senate from taking action. So will we ever be able to get rid of the filibuster? Hello everyone. It's me, QuentinRJiles, your host of the QueJiles, and welcome to another segment of Civic Sessions. Today we will be discussing the filibuster, from what it is and how it was created to why many Democrats and some Republicans want to get rid of it today. So what is it? According to Merriam-Webster Dictionary, a filibuster is the use of extreme dilatory tactics, as by making long speeches, in an attempt to delay or prevent action, especially in a legislative assembly. The word filibuster derived from the Dutch word freebooter and the Spanish word filibusteros. Forgive me if my southern accent chopped all of that up, which at the time was a word to describe the pirates who were raiding the Caribbean islands. But in summation, it's a way to prevent or delay the Senate from taking action. This usually happens when Congress has to vote on a piece of legislation. Whew, okay, now that the boring stuff is out of the way, let's get into the nitty-gritty of it all. Could you imagine showing up to your place of employment, standing in front of your coworkers and supervisors, and just talking so you didn't have to do your job?
Let the filibustering begin. As many of you have noted that use the internet, it has been announced that Disney has required the rights to the Star Wars franchise begin with standard title sequence and John Williams fanfare. And down from the twin sons of Tatooine, we are now close on the mouth of the Sarlacc pit.
And no one could do anything about it unless the majority of your coworkers agreed that you should stop. At the end of the day, you still get paid for doing your job. Why did someone create a way for members of Congress to not have to do their job when it comes to legislation? Well, let's find out. Apparently, the filibuster can be traced back to the first Senate session. And how do we know this? Apparently, a lot of people in history like to keep diaries since they couldn't start their own blog. Or vlog. Shout out to y'all for being here on the Q. On September 22nd, 1789, Pennsylvania Senator William McClay wrote in his diary, quote, "Design of the Virginians was to talk away the time so that we could not get the bill passed." So it was political shenanigans going on all the way back then. It wouldn't be until January 3rd of 1853 that the word filibuster would turn into a term used in the American political system. Over time, the use of the filibuster became more and more common to the point where nothing was getting done. And that's a no ma'am Pam for me. In order to combat this, Congress enacted cloture, which is a political term that means the closing or limitation of debate in a legislative body, especially by calling for a vote. So basically, if enough people didn't agree with the person who was stalling the bill, they could vote to make the person stop talking. Now, this cloture came about in 1917. Now, one would think, oh, this definitely helped stop the filibuster, but not at all. At this time, it would make a 2/3 majority vote to tell someone to sit back down and stop talking. Needless to say, only 5 filibusters would be interrupted over the next 4 decades. Woo, child, that's a whole lot of doing nothing. As time went on, a pattern formed. Southern senators were benefiting from enacting filibusters to stop legislation, especially when it came to blocking civil rights legislation, which included, by the way, anti-lynching bills. It's the racism for me. It took all the way until 1964 for the Senate to actually pass the Civil Rights Act and shut down the filibuster that was trying to stop it. The rules of the filibuster have changed a bit in present day. Now Congress needs 60 votes to enact cloture instead of the 2/3. One of the most modern day filibusters to make headlines happened in 2013 in Texas, but this time it was enacted by a Democrat. In 2013, Wendy Davis, a former state senator of Texas, held a 13-hour filibuster in order to keep anti-abortion legislation from being enacted in the state. So, who really benefits from the filibuster? The answer? It really depends, seeing as how both parties use it. Currently, in 2021, it leans to the Republican side as the Democrats are in power. The filibuster helps those who are in the minority party at the time. At this moment in time, we need bold changes to problems being faced by our society. In order to enact these changes, legislation needs to be brought forth. This legislation is often blocked by the use of the filibuster, halting any chance of wide-scale change. So will we ever be able to get rid of the filibuster? Let's see. For the filibuster to come to an end, the Democratic Party would need to have control over the White House, the Senate, and the House. Oh look, they have that right now. In addition to this, the Democrats would need to convince members of their own party to agree to destroy the filibuster, which might be easier said than done, since not all Democrats think that they should end it. Bernie Sanders, or as many people call him, Uncle Bernie, is against ending the filibuster in fear of what will happen when the Democrats become the minority party and would not be able to curb legislation brought forth by the Republicans. His idea is to get bills across using the already existing parliamentary tactics so that it would not be filibustered. Now that is a point. If you get rid of it, who's to say the Republicans won't try to do something that people absolutely hate on the other side of it? During the presidential debates for the 2020 election, Elizabeth Warren talked about wanting to end the filibuster. However, according to NPR News, quote, speaking immediately after her, Senator Bernie Sanders of Vermont rejected ending the filibuster, but also said he would not wait for 60 votes to pass priorities of his, such as Medicare for all or climate change legislation. He suggested existing parliamentary tactics to get bills through Congress without being filibustered. Recently, Democratic Senator Joe Manchin of West Virginia, who is known for being a moderate, said that he proposes to not get rid of the filibuster entirely, but rather to change it up. He proposed unofficially to have the filibuster be a talking filibuster, where the person who wants to hold up legislation from being passed would need to be on the floor of the Senate speaking the entire time.
It's a filibuster. I remember the first time I voted. I was in my bedroom, and I was 5. I voted for Mildred, my stuffed pig, but my cat Pancakes won. She had more funding. Politics, right? What are you gonna do? How long have I been talking? 3 hours? No, 8 minutes. Okay.
Maybe you should yield the floor.
Quote, if you want to make it a little bit more painful, make him stand there and talk, Manchin said on NBC's Meet the Press. I'm willing to look at another way we can, but I'm not willing to take away the involvement of the minority. On the other hand, former President Trump has issued his support to end the filibuster. Now, one hypothesis on why the filibuster did not come to an end during the Trump presidency is because Republicans that were more moderate did not agree with some of the more extreme policy choices that Trump supported, and they relied on the filibuster, which in turn allowed these moderate politicians to get away with not having to make a decision on many controversial policies. This was due to the filibuster killing the piece of legislation before it could go to a vote. At this point in time, many political scholars believe that the filibuster is on its last leg. The filibuster already has been taken out of Supreme Court nominations by Mitch McConnell. McConnell was even pressured by Trump at one point to end the filibuster. Surprised he didn't do it. The filibuster is slowly being removed bit by bit from the political system. We're not sure when it will end or if it will end. So what do you think? Should Congress vote to remove the filibuster or keep it around? Leave your answer in the comments below. I cannot wait to read them and respond to them in the chat. Also, send this video to one of your friends to start a dialogue about the filibuster. And on your way out, don't forget to like and turn on your post notifications for my page so that you are always first in the queue.